AITA for refusing to pay $35,000 for my daughter's quinceañera? I'm a 47-year-old white man, and I work as a neurosurgeon. My wife is 44. She's Mexican-American, and she teaches middle school. We've been married for nearly 20 years, and we have one daughter together, who's 14 and will be turning 15 this November. Now, I knew a bit about quinceañeras before this, at least on the surface. I knew it was a big deal in Latin cultures, like a sweet 16, but more traditional and rooted in history. What I didn't know is just how much goes into planning one. Apparently, you're supposed to start months in advance, sometimes even a full year out. And I had no clue about the cost. My wife started bringing it up a few weeks ago. She was researching venues, florists, caterers, choreographers for the waltz, DJs, dressmakers, you name it. It honestly felt like she was planning a wedding. I figured this was just her getting excited and doing the preliminary work. But eventually, I asked the obvious question, how much is this going to cost us? She told me she'd put together some numbers and get back to me the next day. Fair enough. I figured maybe $10,000 max. We're financially comfortable. I'm the primary breadwinner, and we've saved well, but we're not flashy. We live below our means and prefer to put money into savings and long-term goals. The next evening, she sat both me and our daughter down at the kitchen table. She had a whole list of items and vendors and said, I've crunched the numbers. If we want to do this properly, it's going to cost around $35,000. I laughed, like an awkward, you're joking, right? Kind of laugh. But she was completely serious. Before I could respond, our daughter actually spoke first. She said, that's really sweet, Mom, but I don't think we need to do all that. I'm not really interested in having a quinceañera. She said it calmly, not in a bratty way, not with attitude, just honest and matter of fact. She even looked at me and said, I'd rather do something smaller or maybe save the money for college or a trip. At that point, I gently told my wife I agreed. $35,000 for a party our daughter doesn't even want just doesn't make sense. That's a new car. That's a year of college tuition. That's a down payment on a house. But my wife didn't take it well. She immediately turned red in the face and accused me of trying to erase her culture. She told our daughter she was whitewashed and said she was ashamed that her own daughter didn't want to embrace such an important tradition. Then she turned on me and said, you're turning her against her roots because you're cheap and you've never respected my culture. It was a lot. I didn't want to escalate things, so I let the conversation die down and waited until later that night to speak privately with our daughter. I told her that if she genuinely wanted the quinceañera, I would absolutely support her. I'd pay for it, and we'd make it beautiful. But I also made it clear that I wasn't going to spend $35,000 on a party she didn't even care about just because her mom wanted it. She said again, clearly and respectfully, that she didn't want the party, that she loved her mom and appreciated the thought, but she just wasn't into it. So the next day, I told my wife firmly, I'm not paying for this. Our daughter doesn't want it. We're not throwing a $35,000 party to satisfy anyone's ego. That's when everything truly exploded. She accused me of being a racist. She said, this is exactly what I feared would happen marrying a white man. You don't understand my culture. You don't care. You just want to raise your little white girl in your little white world. That one really hurt. I've done my best to honor her culture over the years. We've celebrated Dia de los Muertos. I've sat through endless telenovelas. I've gone to countless family parties where I was the only non-Spanish speaker in the room. I've tried. I'm not perfect, but I try. She didn't stop there. She told her entire extended family. Cousins, aunts, siblings, I don't even know all of them. And now I'm getting Facebook messages and texts from people I've never met telling me I'm a terrible father, that I'm depriving my daughter of her heritage, that I'm rich and selfish, and that I'm controlling and abusive. Meanwhile, my side of the family has rallied behind me. My mother, who is not always the most supportive person, actually called me and said, good for daughter for knowing what she wants. Don't let them guilt you into this. Even my younger brother, who usually avoids drama, said he'd never spend that kind of money on something a kid didn't even want. I've asked a few of my colleagues at the hospital what they think. Some said I should just go along with it for the sake of peace, that it's only money, and if it'll save my marriage, I should do it. Others agreed with me, saying it's ridiculous to spend $35,000 on a party, especially when the kid doesn't even want one. So here I am, Reddit. I'm being blasted by my in-laws. My wife barely speaks to me. My daughter is caught in the middle, feeling guilty for being honest. And I'm just trying to stand my ground on a principle that seems pretty basic. Don't throw an expensive party for someone who doesn't want it. So, AITA for refusing to pay for my daughter's quinceañera?